Good afternoon, friends. Welcome to the interview preparation session where we discuss the concepts of data science and related topics which are potential to be asked in the interview. So let's start the session. It's already late. Due to technical glitch, we weren't able to go online. So let's start the session. So what is interpolation or interpolation? I'll pause for a while I get answers from the participants online. Well, I'm still waiting for the answers from the participants. All right, let's discuss. So, interpolation or interpolation can be defined as a point of process of finding value between 2 points, right? So, for example, there's a gap in a curve or a straight line. When there is a gap and the either sides of the straight line or a curve is filled with data. So that's when where we use this technique. This is a statistical tool basically used for predictions. When the data has a gap and filled with data in the either sides, right? So to predict the values in that particular gap, right? Interpolation or interpolation is used. It basically estimates the values within the gap. Correct, Dipshit. I'll pause for a few seconds before I go to the next question. Now that we have discussed about interpolation or intrapolation, now let's discuss about extrapolation. What is extrapolation? Waiting for the answers from the participants. So basically, extrapolation is an estimation of the value based on the extending a known sequence, right? So unlike interpolation, uh, it doesn't depend upon the values that are at the either side of the gap. Right? We actually search for the facts beyond the area that is certainly known. Right? So basically, extrapolation, in general words, uh, is to infer something that is not explicitly stated from the existing information that we have. Yeah. So extrapolation is an estimation of value based on the extending and known sequence of the values or facts beyond the area that are certainly known. In general, extrapolation is to infer something that is not explicitly stated from the existing data. I'll pause for a while to sink in. Let me know if you have got any doubts. I'm here in the chat box. Okay, let's go to the next question. It's basically a series of questions. Here you go. So what is difference between extrapolation and prediction? So do they provide different results? When is it best to use extrapolation versus prediction? There are three questions. I'll be happy if you can answer two or more than two. So we've learned about interpolation, extrapolation, right? So let's get a sense about what prediction is, right? So prediction, more specifically in predictive modeling, it's a test, statistical testing, right? So it is a technique that that is essentially used to compute the estimate, values that you get via extrapolation, right? It actually provides the confidence band to the estimated value. Hence, there's basically no difference between prediction and extrapolation. Prediction gives you the extra, uh, you can say, confidence to the value that is extrapolated. Yes, Ipshita, you're right. Right. I'll pause for a while before I go to the next question. So, what are the different elements in a time series? Absolutely, Kritik. So basically, few of the components could be trend, seasonality, seasonal variations, cyclic variations, right? And random or irregular movements. So let's deep dive into them, right? So trend shows the general tendency of the data if it increases or decreases during a long period of time, right? And seasonal variation. So this is a variation that will be present in the time series if the data uh, are recorded hourly, daily, or weekly, quarterly, or monthly basis, right? Cyclic variations. So the variations in the time series which operates themselves over a span of probably 1 year, generally 1 year, is called a cyclic variation. All right, and coming to the last one, random or irregular movements. Well, this is another factor, another element. They are not regular. They're purely random. So these can be called as the elements of a time series. Yes, Ipsita, seasonality is where it falls under. Let's let's go to the next question. So what's the difference between parameter and hyperparameter? Right. Parameters are variable of this selected model, which can be estimated by fitting the data into the model, right? And when it comes to hyperparameters, they are not learned, by fitting the data into the model. These are parameters whose value are set before, training the model. You can basically tune it in such a way that you get a good accuracy in the model that you're fitting, right? Yes, Ipshita, this is another example that can be used. The difference between parameters and hyperparameters. Hyperparameters are basically manually tuned. Let's go to the next topic. So, what's an activation function? So, let me help you out. It is something related to neural networks. Just in case if it narrows things down. All right. An activation function is added to the artificial neural network. It actually helps the network to learn the complex patterns in the data. Right. So few of the examples of activation functions are, sigmoid, softmax, linear. Exactly. You're right, Nikshita. Yeah, Kritik. Yeah, these are few other examples. Next topic for the discussion. What's the difference between winsorizing and truncating of the data? Well, these are the steps that are involved in exploratory data analysis. Absolutely right, Priyanka. You're right. So, winsorization means it replaces the extreme values, the upper extreme or the lower extreme, right? It doesn't delete the values or delete the data, right? So, and trimming or truncating involves removing those extreme values, which isn't actually useful for further analysis. Trimming and truncating is what not usually uh, recommended. So just a quick question. What is TFIDF? I'm waiting for the answers. Just the acronym. Right. And I would also ask you BOW. Exactly. So now that we are aware of these two terms, let's go to the actual question. Right, Kritik? Priyanka? Yes, you're right. Right. So the question is difference between bag of words and TFIDF. I am anticipating answers. Yes, Kritik. True, you're right, Kritik. So bag of word, just creates a set of vectors containing containing the count of words in the document. Whereas, term frequency in inverse document frequency contains the information of that the more important words and less important words that are present in a document. I'll pause for a while before move on to the next question. What are the properties of normal distribution? Critic, what about median and mode? Correct. Correct, Ipsita. Right. So the mean, median, mode are equal, right? The curve is symmetric in the center, and the total area under cover, sorry, curve is one. So basically, the data is equally distributed at the either sides, left and right, from the center. Okay, the skewness and kurtosis. Skewness and kurtosis of normal, distribution data. I mean, when it comes to skewness, it is zero or near zero. All right, kurtosis could be three for a normally distributed data. Ipshita, hope I've answered it. Going to the next question. So what is class inheritance? All right. Inheritance allows us to define the class that inherits all the methods and the properties from another class. Where parent class is a class that the methods and properties are inherited from, and the child class is the class that inherits it from the parent class, and it's also called as derived class as well. It's also called as subclass. Kritik. All right, we'll call it the session. This is it for today. Hope we have discussed different concepts and questions which are informative. Right, this session was an interactive session. Thank you all. Let's meet in the next session. Thank you so much. You have a great day.